Hello everyone, welcome to When Power Electronics YouTube tutorial. In this clip, I will discuss about the basic of the switch mode power supply. So what is a switch mode power supply? A switch mode power supply is a power supply which converts unregulated source to a stable DC source or many output source using a high frequency switching technique. One more thing you should pay attention, normally they abbreviate it as SMPS, that stands for switch mode power supply. So what is the advantage and disadvantage of this type of circuit? Now we talk about the advantage of power supply. The efficiency is high. You can make it more than 80% or up to 95 or 96%, depend on which type of converter that you use. Since it runs at high frequency and high efficiency, the unit weight is light, is small and compact. Cost effective. Comparing between a switch mode power supply to a similar design using a linear regulator, so this is more cost effective. And since high efficiency, the thermal dissipation is low. Now we talk about the disadvantage of the switch mode power supply unit. It is quite complex design, and there are many different topologies and make it hard for you to choose which one is the right one for your design. Last, the EMI issue. It generates a lot of EMI noise back into your source, which can kind of interfere with your input source. EMI stands for electromagnetic interference. Now we move on to the basic block of switch mode power supply. I basically split into 4 major sections. The first one would be the EMI filter. The second one would be the power transformer, switch and diode. The third one will be the output filter, and last one is the feedback control circuit and the PWM. So in the input filter, you will take the AC source sideway. So in this case, I use 120 volt 60 Hz through an EMI filter, and we rectify it, converting it to a DC unregulated source. So it's roughly around 169 volt, but it has high ripple in this one. In some more advanced circuit, they're using a PFC. PFC stands for Power Factor Correction Unit. So from this 160 something volt, we process it through the power section that combine of transformer, switch, and diodes. By using a gate drive signal from the PWM circuit, your output will be a voltage pulse, a square wave pulse, basically. So from the output of this one, we process through an output filter, normally an LC filter type. Your output will be a DC voltage. So to regulate this DC voltage, we need to feed it back to the control circuit. And from the process of the PWM, it will generate a pulse signal to drive your power section. We'll discuss more of this later on in different sections. So these are the basic block diagram of a switch mode power supply. Below is an ATX computer photo, And in this one, they basically split up in 5 different sections. But technically, it's the same as I discussed before. Your input filter section, EMI, you will have a DC filter cap. Also, your rectifier circuit is also in this section. Then we have section C that showing a transformer, but also there's a FET or a IGBT or a bipolar transistor in this circuit too. We also have the power switching diode embedded in this section. Then from the output, we will converting the pulse signal and filtering it out through the D and the E section. E is the inductor and the E is the capacitor. So this is an LC filter circuit. So your output will be a pure DC voltage. Also, we have a lot of components that will control the signal, the feedback to regulate the outputs. So this is the end of the introduction of a switch mode power supply. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or comment. That will motivate my work. And once again, appreciate your watching. And I will see you on the next clip.